for the fighters. Tighten your straps, no pain, no gain. Feel the thunder in the rap. Win with Nabs, hear the bell, we don't fold. Legends rise here, stories always told.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Win With Nabs. Today, we're here with none other than my boy, Ryan, the 3rd Street Savage Kuse. Welcome onto the show,
Third Street,
brother.
baby. What's up? What's up?
So let's talk about 3rd Street. Let's talk about Pembroke Pines. What was life like for you growing up?
So we grew up in Pembroke Pines, you know, tough streets of Pembroke Pines, good old Broward County. Now I'm playing. My parents had me in a good neighborhood. Grew up in a nice suburban neighborhood, 2-story house. Like, I'm not saying nothing like, you know, 3rd Street Savage. Everyone's like, yo, where's 3rd Street in the hood? I'm like, bro, nah, not really. But you know, it don't really matter where you're from. It matters, you know, how you grew up. And I was always like kind of a trouble kid. So yeah, I grew up. My friends living on 3rd Street. Everybody would always come, yo, meet on 3rd Street, meet on 3rd Street. So I just ended up calling myself the 3rd Street Savage.
So when you got into MMA and you had a lot of fighting around you, you did wrestling in high school, you actually got a scholarship to go to college. Actually, let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
You said that you went to college for 1 year on a scholarship for wrestling and you didn't like Iowa, so much so that you got the Florida flag tattooed on your arm. Please walk us through that. What made you dislike Iowa so much? I mean, I'm a Florida guy too. I agree with you, but
long story short, like when you grow up in Broward and you grow up, you know, in Miami area, like it's a different life that I never really knew. Like this is all I knew. So then when I seen like the real like small town, middle of nowhere Iowa life with cornfields,
dude, it's not the same.
And like
when you think like America, I think for us in South Florida, it's a really different experience.
Yeah,
then even when you go up to the north of Florida, it's pretty different.
Exactly. So I didn't really understand that. I just thought this was life. This was all I knew. And like even just the girls is not the same, which I didn't know. The people, the character traits that we carry is not the same.
Just the lifestyle. It's not the same.
Exactly.
It's not the same. And even the culture is very. I mean, Miami culture is very unique, very different.
It's more like kind of like the food. Like over here we got the sazon, we got the everything, we got all the flavor. Over there is just, you know, the lifestyle is salt and pepper. Like that's it.
I mean, you literally have the cornfields you're talking about.
It was not my cup of tea. I ended up getting. I told him I'm a Florida boy. I'm not with this Iowa stuff. But ended up coming back down here. And
so you ended up coming home. Was that when you got into MMA or was it before then?
So actually, one of my friends, shout out to Jay Fresh, he knew a promoter up there that they would fight in the barns.
In the barns?
Yo,
so you guys were like tussling in the hay.
Yo, dirt on the floor, like you're walking through the dirt before you get into the cage. And this guy got me a fight and ended up choking the guy out in like a minute. And I'm like, oh shoot, I'm pretty good at this stuff.
And that was with no training or experience?
I mean,
you had wrestling. You had wrestling,
yeah.
But you didn't have any striking experience.
Yo, MMA is like night and day from wrestling. There is wrestling in MMA, but it's way different. So yeah, that was my first time. But I always grew up fighting, like down here in Pembroke Pines and
what kind of fights were you getting into, bro?
So there's just like a little side thing, but like I don't know. Once I figured out I was good at fighting, I just wanted to fight everybody. So I used to just, you know, kind of be a troublemaker and just fight for no reason. Like I'd be like, bro, why you looking at me? And they'd be like, what's up? I'd be like, yo, you trying to fight? But I would never like just go up to nobody really and just like deck them. But we would just get into like little altercations, kind of like two Pokemon.
Like little two Pokemon.
I swear, like,
just want to scrap sometimes.
Yo, 9 times out of 10, I wouldn't even have a problem with him. I'll just be down to fight. And then,
do you think MMA saved you from beating up on random guys at parties and stuff like that?
MMA literally saved my life. Literally to the point where I don't even know if I would be here today if it wasn't for MMA, because I've seen people, you know, get guns put on them. I've had my knives put out on me, guns put out on me, everything just from fighting. And for me, you know, I'm not taking it serious. Like the fight, I'm not super mad or anything, or I'm probably just, you know, drank a little bit or whatever I'm on. But like I was never like super mad. I just loved to fight. For whatever reason, something in me just wanted to punch people in the face.
And how much of that, I guess, thirst for violence has been quenched by you now doing MMA? You're training probably like every day now.
Yeah.
You're at the Goat Shed. So what has that been like, and what's that team like for you?
So realistically, yeah, once I started, you know, releasing that like shaking up Coke can pressure like analogy, by you know, training every day, I lost the urge to like kind of just go out and do, you know, bad things. So I would just train every day. And if I'm out in a restaurant or if I'm out at a bar or whatever, and somebody would, you know, start running their mouth, and I'll kind of do like the analogy of like, bro, why should I work outside of work? Bro, I just got done working all day. I'm here to have a beer.
You were fighting earlier. You don't got to do it later.
Bro, I'll give you the pass. I'll be like, yo, come on. Sometimes I got time, but most of the time, ever since I started training, I've probably been in realistically, probably one street fight in the last like 10 years ever since.
Wow.
Like, I really, maybe a little bit more than that, but
you've just been locked in on your actual, like your actual career. I mean, who wants to go to work after hours,
bro,
right?
Exactly. Like I've had nights where before when I was just bad, like I fought in like 3 times in one day before. Like at Chili Cook-Off. You ever heard of Chili Cook-Off? You kind of young.
No, you gotta walk me through. What's this?
It's like this country festival in CB Smith Park. And bro, we would get there at like 12 a.m. and pregame to like 6 a.m. and the concert would start at like 8. And we would just go there and just be drinking and just everyone's just like tailgating and partying, and we would just start fighting. I don't even know why. We would just literally fight. I remember one time just walking.
So a bunch of drunk guys.
Yeah,
there's also chili there.
Yeah,
right.
they're
just scrapping.
They're cooking chili. Someone will bump me. I'll look at them. We just start fighting, and then we'll be like, "All right, you good? All right," and then we'll just walk away and just keep.
But
going.
it was never so for you. It was never a personal thing.
Sometimes it was. Most of the time it wasn't. Most of the time I would just you get a thrill. It's like a drug. Like if anybody's been in a street fight. And you know the feeling of after you fight, you're with all your boys. Yo, you saw that, bro? That was crazy. Da 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 da. It's like a high you get from fighting, and like it's like a drug you can't never get enough of.
So you fought on the Game Bread FC promotion. You fought on Fury. So for you, what was the moment when you realized like this is an actual career that I can pursue, and I'm really good at this, and I have the hard work, I have the work ethic to train and be really good at this?
Yeah, so I honestly didn't even know I could even be good at this. I just like fighting, and I met one of my friends in Pines that put me on to training. He was training at Wagner Rocha, which is he was in the UFC at the time. We started going to Wagner Rocha's and sparring and not really like taking it super serious, but started actually training for real. And he's like, he wanted to be champ at the time. He's like, yo, I'm gonna be UFC champ. Da da da. You should come train. And he actually got me in love with the sport. He stopped fighting like competitively. I kept going, but then I realized, like me and him were at the time the top amateurs in the state of Florida. We were both ranked number 1. He was at 45. I was at 35. And then I realized, yo, I could probably make some money doing this. So then,
That's when you realize, like, you started getting momentum in your career. And during that period of time, was there ever a moment where you're like, maybe this isn't what I want to do, or you had doubts about maybe fighting isn't the path? Not because you weren't good at it, but maybe because you're like, there's other things I wanted to pursue. So what was that like?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like fighting is,
because it's very taxing on the body, on the mind, and everything.
Fighting is one sport that, bro, it's number 1, you don't make that much money. Number 2, you kind of don't really have any friends or family. You're so busy training. And when you do have time, you're so tired from life, from just training, that you don't even want to really
focus
even
on recovery.
do anything besides.
You don't want to do anything.
You just want to, if you're not getting recovering or laying in bed or watching TV, bro, I don't want to go hang out with my friends even though they're having a great time. I don't want to go, even as messed up as, I don't want to go to the family function, bro. I'm so tired. I'm beat up. I don't want to talk. That's sometimes you're in camp so hard that you don't want to do anything besides lay down in bed, either scroll or just
somewhere
watch
where
TV.
you can relax.
Exactly.
So we're going to touch on this a little bit later, but do you think that becoming a father and now having a family of your own has changed your outlook on, I guess, fighting in your relationship with your family? Because obviously now I'd imagine that you're spending a lot more time at home with the baby and stuff like that. So how has that affected your balance of time and your ability to continue fighting, but also recognize that you have other responsibilities as well? Oh
yeah, the baby is the best thing that ever happened to me. I swear, like you just see a kid or a baby literally that you just love more than anything in the world, that you can't even explain it. Like having a son, it's kind of like, I was telling my girl, it kind of changes you for the better in some ways and for the worse in some ways, because some things you have to let go whether you want to or not. Like, yo, I'm the Third Street Savage, bro. When I see people, I wanna kill them. But now when I'm with my son, I'd be like, yo, I'm not a fighter right now. I'm just hanging out with my
you're
son.
you're
I'm
just
just
a dad.
poking his stomach, and he's laughing. He's like, playing with my beard, and I'm just like, yo, at this moment right now, I am not the Third Street Savage. I'm just, a father and a son. So like they take away that inner
That
killer
anger.
and give you
Yeah.
they give you softness. They soften up your heart. So like I could see why a lot of fighters spend time away from their kids when they're in camp, because some things, it makes you a better person, but in the fighting, it turns you into an actual person instead of a more robotic like MMA fighter.
So I want to rewind a few years. So during COVID, a lot of other fighters hit pause. A lot of organizations also hit pause on their operations. And you actually took an approach where you were training a lot during that period of time, during the lockdown. And if I'm not mistaken, you doubled down, and your mom was helping support you while you were continuing to train and do all your fighting career and everything. So what was that experience like, and how were you able to balance continuing to train to the most of your ability compared to like what everyone else was doing? Because I think that's also where you get a lot of advantage time, right? When you're putting in the hours and no one else is.
Oh yeah. So during that time, actually, right when COVID hit, I was trying to go pro. We just went to Bahrain, and we fought for the US team against like the whole world, and I was repping US. I ended up losing to the guy that took second, but right after that, COVID hit, and I was trying to go. We were trying to go pro, and bro, there was no events, no nothing, and we just
There's
kept
nothing going on.
Yo, there was literally, we book an event, it gets canceled. We book, and I'm trying to go pro for like that whole year. Finally, like we're still training, boom, boom, every day, and finally we get an event, gets canceled, and then Titan, shout out to Lex, ends up having an event with nobody in the crowd, nobody in the stands, and then I didn't fight on that one. My teammate did, and I ended up fighting on the next one where they had like
What's that like? What's it like fighting an arena where there's no one there?
It literally just feels like kind of like
Sparring.
a little less than sparring, because in goat shed, sparring's crazy. So it's kind of like a little less than sparring, but it's like, it could be a little awkward. I don't know if you ever seen like a fight where like nobody's cheering or no one, you just hear It's kind of like
It's like when you're watching some of those UFC Apex fights. Sometimes
Yeah,
that's the vibe.
imagine dancing with a girl and there's no music.
Yeah, it's not the same.
It's kind of weird, but I don't know. Sometimes you got to.
I mean, I also imagine for you with your successes, you're one of the best-selling fighters in Florida. You always have the. I mean, we're going to talk about it again later, but you always have the crowd super excited. You have people cheering for you. So I'd imagine that it's a little, like you said, it's dancing with someone without the music.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that for you is a little bit different because you're so accustomed to having like a home crowd that loves you.
Yeah, the crowd.
And how do you think that? And as a fighter, this is more of like a fan question. Do you think that it influences you positively or negatively? Like if you had a crowd booing you, do you think that would affect your performance in a fight?
Yeah, I for sure feed off the positive energy, because when your whole crowd screaming Third Street, I feel the energy. Like they're literally giving me their energy, and I'm like, bro, I cannot let these people down. I gotta go, whether I'm losing or whether I'm winning. Like you feel that energy, and like it's kind of like the momentum. Basketball, you hit that three, you
and you just keep going, get the flow state.
Yeah, you start getting in that flow, and it's like you literally get their energy. But I've been on the other side where everyone is booing, and it could take a little toll, because I don't know. I don't know why it's like that, but
no, I think it's just a psychological thing.
Yeah,
I think people just in
it
general,
is too.
they just perform better when you have support, when you have people that are there for you.
Yeah. I think it is too.
I think it's just
that psychological factor in fighting is big.
And even you were talking about, what's it like when you have a training camp for a fight? I mean, you just went through one, and you know that you have to be really strict with your diet. You have to be constantly training. So how do you handle all of that mental pressure and not cave in?
Training camp nowadays is almost like, bro, I've been through like 2-year training camps. Where like
2 years?
We're like Awesome. He's very, very strict. And the team used to be really small. So like, let's say it was only 10 of us. He's on us even before karate combat. He was just on us all day. We were training 3-4 times a day, every day. Like even if we weren't in camp,
3-4 times.
Yeah, even if we weren't in camp,
3-4 times
out
a
of
day.
camp. Yeah, it was. But that was just life. Like when I first met Awesome, we would just go gym hopping. We would meet boxing gym 6 a.m. Go eat. Go to KO Zone. Go eat. Go to UFC gym or go to Fast Twitch. go eat, and then we'll go home.
So you're just the whole day. You're
Yeah.
hustling around Miami. You're
We
going
didn't
to all
have
these
no
different
jobs.
gyms.
We didn't have nothing, no responsibility, just train. And we did that for a while when I first met him. We were just training all day. And that was when I was top amateur. We were, top prospects as pros. And now, when you're getting into that higher level, life starts lifing a little harder outside of the cage. And you have to keep that momentum because it's hard with camp now because you got a lot of other things that you're responsible for, as opposed to back in the day it was just fighting.
Your only focus was training. So I think I got to ask you, you were coming off of a massive knee injury, right? First of all, tell us exactly what the injury was. Was it your ACL?
It was, they call it like the trifecta, ACL, MCL, meniscus, as well as the surgery I chose to get was the patellar tendon graft. So they take your patellar tendon, cut it in half, and put that as your ACL. And so you damage like 4 parts.
When did you get the surgery? First of all, how did the injury happen? And then second of all, when did you get the surgery and how long was recovery?
Yeah, so before I didn't listen to my body. Even last year, I just didn't listen to my body. I'm just like, yo, I got to do whatever I got to do to win this fight. So we're like 4 hours into a camp. I'm cutting weight. I'm cutting down to 135 from 160. I'm training hard. We're like 4 hours into a session, and it's like the last 5 minutes.
It's always the last. It's always the last few minutes of training.
I was so
That's how when I broke
fatigued.
my ankle, it was my first time because I've been boxing for a while.
Yeah.
For like 2 years, then my coach was like, "Yo, do you want to try kickboxing?" I was like, "Sure." Last 3 minutes of the workout, I threw a kick. I slipped and I landed on the right side of my ankle, which I'd sprained before. It broke a little bit of the bone and it tore one of the tendons or something.
Yeah, that's
Yeah. But yeah,
you
keep
were,
going.
You were so
I was focused, and it's like you don't think anything's gonna happen because it's the end of the training session.
yeah, and your body just so fatigued. So yeah, I ended up getting taken down, and I was defending it when he cut angles. Pretend it's my left leg. When he cut angles, it stayed straight, and my knee on the inside just went straight down to the mat. So he cracked it down, and I just heard pop, 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 and I'm like, oh. I knew from that little thing right there, I just started screaming. I was holding on somebody's legs, and I was like, yo.
Is it the most painful thing you've been through?
It's
Like
a quick pain.
physically
Yeah,
painful?
it was very painful, and I just felt like, you know how you just feel like a flash, like you just get pale, and you just feel like you want to just throw up. And I'm just squeezing somebody's legs, and I'm like, yo, I just blew out my whole knee, and I'm like, no, it's good. So I get up, believe it or not, I start walking, I start doing squats. I'm like, I'm good. I'm good. I'm just telling myself I'm good.
You were not good.
That day, right when I cooled down, I went home. I couldn't even get out of bed to go pee because anytime I moved my upper body, it would move the knee. I had to army crawl to the bathroom and like grab the thing, get up. I couldn't move for 3 days, and that's when I got the MRI and they told me that, bro. Even the doctor was like.
That's a rough procedure.
Yeah,
That's a rough
very
procedure.
rough. And then I didn't realize the comeback from the surgery is 10 times worse than the injury.
Oh my gosh, yeah, because you got physical therapy. You have to be really good about those kinds of injuries because then they can come back in the future.
Yeah,
you don't
so-
have injury. You don't have problems in the future.
I
again.
scheduled the surgery like 2 months after the injury, and like even a week after the injury, I was walking. I was still hitting pads lightly. I could still function. But after the surgery, I couldn't move on that leg for like 3 months. The knee was this big. Like I couldn't even bend it. Like, bro, it was
That's rough.
the worst, like one of the worst times in my life ever. Like it sucked. And it brings you through a depressive state almost.
Because I remember for me, even when I broke I was like out of commission for a few. It wasn't as bad because I could still walk. I got the boot after like the first week or so, but not being able to even like drive or do simple things, or I couldn't run. It's like, I feel like when you get injured, you realize how you take for granted some of the most simple things. Like,
Especially the leg. It's like you use the
my
leg
God.
for everything. At least the
everything,
arm.
because you can't walk.
Yeah.
It's hard.
The arm, you could still do a lot of things with your other arm and you could still walk. But the leg, you can't walk. Everything hurts. Like
You can't do any exercise.
yeah, I started doing upper body after a month, and I ended up getting I ended up blowing up I was doing upper body morning and night every single day, chest, back, arm, just every single day because I was I train for a living. Like this is all I do, and now the only thing like for the most part that I do all day I just couldn't do, and I'm in bed and I'm like, yo, this sucks. and I'm trying to do anything I can. I'm going to therapy. They're like, yo, only come to therapy once a week. I'm there every single day at
No, that's what but that's what you got to do. The best way to recover is you got to be locked in. I remember for me, something my dad said, I don't know if it was about something that Kobe had said or one of these athletes, is like, when you're recovering from an injury, it should be your sole priority. And even when I'm in there, no phone, I'm just focused on the workouts. I try to go like 3 or 4 times a week. I left school early a few times, I'm trying my best to recover because I don't want it to be a problem. I'd already sprained it like 3 or 4 times before. I don't want it to be a recurring problem. Strengthening it. I was in there for months. Even the guy said, okay, you're good to go. I was still there for like another 2 weeks. I was like, no, I want to make sure like 100% doesn't happen again. And it's really true. It's important like how seriously you take your recovery.
How long did it take you to get back?
Like back to fully normal, like about 6 or 7 weeks.
Oh, that's not bad.
It wasn't horrible.
Yeah.
Like the amount of bone that broke wasn't like crazy, but it still wasn't good. And then the bigger issue was like the torn ligament or tendon or whatever. For sure.
But then you realize how impressive the body is, how it can heal itself.
How it can heal itself, yeah.
Just with blood flow. Like moving it brings the blood flow to that region. So the more blood flow you bring to that region,
you activate it. That's why it's
exactly.
better.
It's bringing more oxygen, more nutrients, more everything, and it'll start healing.
That's why completely unrelated. How often are you stretching? Stretching is pretty important.
I used to stretch more, but now I realize you kind of have to do. It's kind of like active stretching where you get into that stretch position, but you move through it. For example, if I want to stretch my hamstring, instead of me just holding my toes and stretching static, I'll do like single leg RDLs and touch it and come back, or I'll put my leg up here like this and bend down and like work through that movement to get that muscle to tension in that stretch state. It's a lot more beneficial, at least for me, when you're warming up.
Oh yeah, before going into a workout,
exactly.
It's much better.
So I do like I try to always stay moving, like moving through the stretch instead of just static stretching.
I think you might have answered this already, but a question I ask all of my guests is, what is the toughest fight of your life? It doesn't have to be physical. It could be mental. It could be emotional. It doesn't have to be in the cage, obviously. So what has that been for you?
Probably one of the toughest fights of my life is fighting the person that I used to be every day. Because like the person that I was and is still in me was crazy guy as opposed to who I am now. Like, bro, I just want to go out all day. I want to go drink. I want to go club. I want to.
How do you suppress that demon? I guess
girls,
if you want to call or whatever. Like, how do you prevent that side of you from taking over?
Honestly, the most important thing is like staying busy is the beginning to. If you're super busy, you don't got time to go out. You don't got time to, hang out with the wrong friends. You don't got time to do none of the stuff because you're so busy.
There's no time for distractions.
Exactly. So that's one. And two, one of the most important things, like for me, is just like trying to just be a mature man, be a man, and take responsibility for your actions. I can't be like, oh, I blame this, oh, I blame. No, you as a man, everything is your fault. So taking responsibility, being a mature man, and kind of trying to leave that person in the past that's always gonna be in you, and that person could come out any day of the week if you're not on top of it. So like I said, even though I grew up in Pembroke Pines and I grew up in a good neighborhood, there's still like, it don't matter if I grew up here.
It doesn't matter.
That thing inside of you that makes you want to be a wild man, that makes you feel alive. It comes out, and you just have to suppress it and keep it down and stay busy and use that energy for good.
Wow, that's powerful. And I think, we'll go back to this as well. I think also probably becoming a father also, you talked about how you embrace your softer side, when you're with your son and stuff like that, and when you're with your girlfriend. So I think that like for you, having this family, you have something that's anchoring you almost to your better side, right?
Yeah, for sure. And like, this is one thing, like besides the point, but there's one topic I like to like philosophize like certain situations that I deal with in life. And sometimes what everybody looks at as your biggest, like what's the opposite of attribute? Like something that brings you down, like your biggest thing that brings you down, channeled in the right way, can be your biggest superpower. Like as crazy as this sounds, like
that's deep, bro. Yeah, that's some deep stuff.
Yo, like even, bro, like a lot of people don't know unless you went to high school with me, bro. People, they used to put me this is me exposing myself. They used to put me in like the special, like, you know, the ESC classes, because I couldn't pay attention, and I was just never like do this math, and I'm like, bro, I'm just in my mind just daydreaming while the teacher's teaching. They thought that I was, you know, special ed. And then, bro, they don't realize that what was going on in my mind, bro. I was thinking, like, trying to think way bigger. I was trying to think about just great things and trying to be realistically, like, just thinking about wrestling growing up, just thinking about just having fun, just trying to think about, I always, like, loved entrepreneurship. I always just loved things. And now I could use that side of me where had me put in, like, these classes and whatever to, like, try to think outside the box and try to be great. So, like, a lot of people have, like, everybody's saying, "Oh, you're messed up. You're a bad person because of this." But that energy channeled in the right way can, you know, be your superpower.
But I didn't expect it to get this deep.
Yeah.
I think that it's so true, and I think first of all, there's no shame in any classes or anything. I think that the way that it's designed is that there's something for everyone, and everyone can like understand their talents and like be taught in a way that makes sense for them and is approachable for them, and it makes things more understandable. And it ends up helping them, I guess, become better people or figure out like how they need to learn or whatever. And I also think that the fact that you're even able to be vulnerable about that shows how mature you are.
Yeah.
And your ability to understand that, like, first of all, I mean, you're destined for greatness with the fighting and everything, but also you have your journey outside of that. So I want to touch upon something you just mentioned. You talked about your love for entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
You are a businessman yourself outside the cage. You're making these big deals and everything. No, I'm just playing. But
tell me
what's going on, man. What's the business?
Yeah, so my business is called Dirty Boys Waste Solutions. So we basically do tailored trash service, tailored waste removal. So, for example, Waste Management pulls up. They have one service that they do, and that trash service doesn't apply to everybody. Like, for example, if you want to throw this away, like, this can't fit into your dumpster, and like they're gonna see it and they're gonna be like, bro, we're not taking it. So companies call us, or we work with construction, we work with residential, we work with retail. We work with a lot of companies that, you know, need specific waste removal, have specific waste removal needs. So we either rent them dumpsters or we send our team out there to haul and remove everything they have. It's a pretty simple business, but it's very, very lucrative, and I end up
What got you into that business?
So actually I worked with a guy that did it, and honestly, I was like, yo,
You can make money doing this.
Yeah, I was like, yo, I could do this shit by myself, and I always had like a pretty entrepreneurial mindset, but like as being a fighter, it was just something that you can schedule jobs around your training. You can, you know, I started with bringing all the guys from Goat Shed to work with me, so they're training, they're getting paid, I'm working, I'm getting paid. We ended up just starting with, you know, a really beat truck that I found in the auction. A F450 1994, and now we have 3 trucks, a whole bunch of dumpsters. We have trailers. We got dump trucks. I have an F650, and yeah, now we're working with a lot of the biggest like contractors out here in Miami, Broward, all that. So we're doing very well. My fiance is, you know, extremely helpful. She's more hands-on than me. She quit her job actually
to pursue.
Yeah, she's a
awesome.
full-time mom.
Good for you, man.
Yeah, so like, just that business alone kind of changed our life. The business, you know, sponsors my fighting and my lifestyle, so I can get the training I need. I could get the food I need. I could get, you know, my gym memberships are paid, my car is paid, and now, like, yeah, we still have to work on it every day, but, you know, it's been such a blessing, and yeah, entrepreneurship is.
Do you think you've learned
fun.
any lessons from entrepreneurship that you can apply to inside the cage, or maybe just life in general?
Yeah, I mean, just alone fighting is your own form of entrepreneurship. Like, I have my Third Street Savage LLC, which, you know, is a whole company in itself, which could be, you know, a promotional company. It could be obviously athletic organization. It is way harder to make money from fighting than it is from actually starting, you know, a business. Yeah, because, you know, fighting, you kind of have to work for somebody. Unless I just said, you know what, I'm going to throw my own promotion. I'm going to sell my own tickets and do like a Mayweather.
It's almost impossible, because then you're booking your own fights while you're trying to train.
Yeah.
It's just too much to manage
It's
for one
very
person.
difficult. And you know, right now in fighting, you know, I love to work with the biggest promotions in the world. So I'm always going to be, you know, a worker in that aspect for fighting. You know, I love to work with Karate Combat. Shout out to them boys. You know, probably, I would say, the best promotion outside of the UFC for fighting and striking and excitement. And, you know, that was my first time doing karate combat. It was, you know, extremely, extremely fun. And then the UFC is, you know,
Obviously the big
pinnacle of fighting. Yeah.
There's no other way to put it. So we're on the subject. Let's talk about karate combat. Just now at Karate Combat 56. If you guys didn't watch it, come on, what are you doing? Go on YouTube, watch it right now. The live stream is still up there. You won in less than 30 seconds with a kick to the head via a knockout kick to the head. First off, what was going through your head leading up to it? No one thought the fight would be that short. Please tell us everything. What was going on there?
So I do this thing before I fight where I try to just blank out. Like, I try to get into such a meditative state that not one thought runs through my mind. You know how, like, I mean, I do it like when I try to go to sleep and I'm just overthinking. So, like, I'll try to get into this state where, like, I don't have to think about nothing I'm doing, where, like, borderline, I'm not even kind of even there. I'm just like,
you're just flipping the switch off.
Exactly. And I'm just like, yo,
flowing.
Like, I try to do like that Bruce Lee, like, be water. Like, yo, let every single muscle in your body relax and let your mind just blank out. And that way you don't feel any nerves. You're almost just like, your body's just going to do what it was trained to do. Because your reaction is way faster than thinking. If he's like, oh, he throws this punch, let me think about slipping it, throw. But if you just react, it's so much faster. So I just,
you looked really relaxed when you walked in.
My best fights, I'm just always like that. When I'm like super tense and super nervous and I'm like I don't want to be here, I always fight like shit. So like with that fight, I was just super relaxed and I didn't even have a game plan. I'm just like, bro, I'm just gonna flow. I'm just gonna feel and end up just finding it and just winging that back high kick from southpaw and connected.
So I also got to ask, you walked in, a bunch of your crew walked in, family members who all had the red ski mask on. What is the significance of that?
So the ski mask for me is like, if you're from Broward, you know, shout out Kodak Black, you know, just we hitting a robbery. I would always say we're hitting a strong arm robbery and we taking all the gold. So like as an amateur, I was always fighting I had like almost every amateur title, 135, 145 for like the top amateur promotions in Florida. So I would just always come out with a ski mask and like we were younger at the time. So I would have 200 of my friends all ski masks.
A bunch of like 200 guys all wearing the red ski mask.
Where do you even get that? Every color. Yeah.
Where do you even get that many ski masks?
Yo, shout out to Alibaba. No, we would just order. I would get them on Amazon or wherever and just order a ton of ski masks and just sell them. I would have my mom or my brother, whoever in the crowd, just selling everybody ski masks, $20 a pop. Boom, boom. And then, we've had some crazy experiences, like where everybody ski masked up one time, and my opponent's coach tried to fight me after the fight inside the cage, and all my people start fighting all their people outside with all the ski masks on. That's a story for, another day.
No, we have time. All right, what's that story?
So long story short, we're having this hectic beef with some kid from Orlando, and we're fighting in the cage. Boom, boom. End up beating him, winning the 45 title. And I go up to his coach. I'm like, hey, good match. He's like, bro, get away from me. Watch out. And I'm like, bro. He's like, how about you meet me outside and we go fight? And I just fought 3 rounds, bro. I'm tired. I go up to Austin like, hey, yo, bro. This man's coach trying to fight me, bro. So Austin goes up to him and ends up mushing him in the face. There's a video on it. It went viral on YouTube and the promotion got it deleted. Ends up mushing him in the face. Everyone starts fighting. My people start jumping in the cage, start fighting.
You got a bunch of people in like red ski masks, different colors.
They were white at the time. They were white with like blue and pink.
Who are just throwing punches.
Yo, and they're all
that's like
fighting.
the Khabib Conor fight when people started jumping
like
into the octagon.
But like 5 times the amount of people. It's like my people were probably like at least 75 people, and their people were probably like at least 50, all fighting to the point where even my people started fighting each other. Like everyone was just scrapping. And no one knew, like, that they turned the lights off in the event. I don't know who did it. So it's pitch black. Everyone's fighting. There's chairs going flying. This is at XFN at the time when they were around. And, that was one of the craziest amateur events. After that, some of the coaches tried to get me blackballed from MMA, from here. And, like, Awesome loved Awesome, crazy guy. He loved every second of it. And that was a wild event. But that's how like the ski mask thing started. And I was like, yo, let's run with it. I ended up getting like a guy with a ski mask tatted on the back of
Dude,
my
that's
leg.
great marketing.
Yeah, so it was like that's how I really first blew up in the MMA scene, just from like me and like all my friends just being just hooligans.
I mean, it wasn't even your fault though. The other guy just wanted to fight you.
Yeah, but I feel like there's a lot of energy in the air when people are fighting. Just a natural man's instinct
It's to fight. Yeah.
do the man dance. So like when anybody has an excuse like to fight, I feel like
a lot of people act on it.
Yeah.
So when you fought, let's go back to karate combat. How different was it fighting inside the pit versus the octagon? What was that
so
like?
the pit is actually like you feel pretty free. Like the octagon is caged in, like there's no way out. Like a pit, I could just climb up the thing and I'm out. So like I feel like it's so free, it's so big, square. Like I didn't feel like any tension where like I'm like closed into this cage. So I just felt like I can just like relax and like just flow. And I caught that flow state really nicely, which is like something that, a lot of fighters and any, high level person tries to achieve. If you can achieve that flow state in anything you do in the highest level, you can be the best version of yourself. And I just caught it, and that pit is nice. And now I see why so many people are trying to fight for karate combat. Just the pit, the crowd, the energy.
It's something special there.
The production, like, yeah, I fought in, a lot of promotions. I've fought in around the world, and karate combat was one of the best, experiences, just from the way that they treat their fighters to the way that, from professional weigh-ins to everything is just ran so great. So yeah, I'll definitely be back in that pit, being free, flowing.
So I was going to ask, so you're a pretty young fighter. You have a lot of attention on you. Don't hold back. Who do you want next? And what do you want next?
Honestly,
the camera's
yeah.
right there. What do you want to say?
Yo, honestly, my goal right now is to make it on the Contender. So I know, Dana, you've been on this podcast, and like that's my goal. My dream is to be UFC champion, and to be that, I have to be in the UFC. So I know I'm fighting, and I need to prove myself, and get into the UFC is the biggest accomplishment
Doesn't get bigger than that. Yeah.
Anybody can achieve. So, they're not just letting any Joe Schmo in there, or just, you have to have a significant resume to even get honored to even go in there. So, I mean, my goal is to get onto the Contender, and I just need to keep knocking these boys down. And, I'm 7-2 in MMA. The two guys I lost to one was in the UFC and one is currently in the UFC. And I'm 1-0 bare knuckle, 1-0 karate combat. I got over like 20-some fights from amateur and pro, and I just need to just start knocking these boys down just how I did, and for sure I won't be.
The clips speak for themselves.
Exactly, I won't be unnoticed.
That's awesome. So we're gonna move on to one of the last segments of the show. I'm gonna ask you some fun rapid fire questions.
Let's do it.
Favorite strike?
Favorite strike? I'll say uppercut.
Who hits the hardest at Goat Shed?
Probably Chris Alvidrez. He's 170, but that boy hits like a train.
Do you have any crazy like stories with President Awesome or the guys at Goat Shed? Like something like insane. I know there's always something insane happening with him, but like just anything that jumps out, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened.
Most of them I probably can't even speak on in public. But
okay, one of the more tame. What's like the most tame one that you feel comfortable sharing?
Oh my goodness, no, none of them are illegal. It's just some crazy stuff. I need to think on it. There's way too many, but just that guy, just hanging around him is a movie in general.
What's your worst weight cut story?
My pro debut, I was a zombie walking in the cage. I mean, walking into.
Do you think it's because your first like pro fight, you're having a little struggle with the weight cut? Or?
Sometimes I underestimate the cut. Maybe I didn't diet as well, but yeah, my debut, I looked like a zombie. I sucked in.
If you weren't a fighter and you didn't have your business, what would you be doing? Like, what's your dream career outside of fighting or entrepreneurship?
Honestly, it probably wouldn't be something like that legal. I'd probably be in California doing something over there.
Well, we're not going to ask any more questions about that. So, what's your favorite Miami spot to eat at? Or it could be in Broward. Broward's got some good food options.
Yeah. I mean, between flavor and health, I got to go with Apple a Day. Shout out to Riz. Apple a Day, South Beach. Check them out.
Who's the scariest fighter you've ever sparred or interacted with? but that was like shockingly nice after?
Scariest one was size. Honestly, I only train in goat shed, so we don't spar too much outside. I'll go with Joaquin Buckley. He's been to the gym before.
UFC Welter. Oh yeah, you sparred with him?
Yeah, we moved around. He's actually a really nice guy, but I was like, I see the way he fights, and he's a scary dude.
I would want to get punched by him.
Yeah.
What's it like when you're sparring someone who's much bigger than you, or how does that work? I guess
Honestly,
most of it I would imagine just like technical sparring.
Yeah, one you know, don't hit him too hard, because not saying that I would land a clean shot on anybody bigger than me, but if someone's way bigger than you, you hit them as hard as they can. If they hit you as hard as they can back, it's two different levels of hard. So you just want to when you land, hit with your hand loose. Don't crack them, and don't try to show off. Just have a friendly sparring if you don't want to get knocked out. Because at the end of the day, if you're good at 135 and they're good at 200,
it's not fair. Yeah, it's not fair. There's a big power. There's a big power difference.
So just spar respectfully, be good, because you don't want to get knocked out in training.
So before we close out the show, is there anything that you want to say to the fans at home, or just in general, any last messages you want to say on camera?
Just want to say, chase your dreams, do what you love to do, and realistically, whenever you start doing something big, everybody is gonna tell you it's never gonna work. Don't do it unless you have a great dad like your dad chases your dreams.
Pops is awesome.
Yeah, but whenever you're doing something super big that people can't ever imagine themselves doing, they're gonna project their own, insecurities on you. So just keep doing it and prove them all wrong, because the more you grind and the more you shine, slowly but surely, everybody will end up jumping on the train. That's how I feel.
That's beautiful, bro. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on to the show. We had an awesome time with Ryan, the 3rd Street Savage Kuse. Follow him on Instagram at, I think it's the 3rd Street Savage as well.
Spelled out.
If you guys like more content or want more like this, make sure to drop a like and subscribe and turn on the bell for when we get more videos out. We'll catch you guys in the next one on Win With Nabs.